What is up, guys, and welcome into another episode of the Ain't It Funky podcast. My guest today is Aaron Stechauner. Aaron is a drummer and songwriter based in Costa Mesa in California. Aaron has just recently come off a tour with Elise opening up for Madison Beer, and he's also had experience playing everything from jazz to every subgenre of metal that you can name. In our conversation, we spoke about Aaron's songwriting alter ego, Saber Lane, going back and forth between playing with Elise on the Madison Beer tour and, in that same period of time, playing drums for Ever Morphing, supporting Ginger, and more. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe wherever you're listening. The video version is available on YouTube as well. Thanks for tuning in, and enjoy. All right, Aaron Stechauner, welcome into the podcast.
Thank you.
So, Aaron, take me back to what got you started originally playing drums.
I never remember exactly why I started. I think I remember times of being young, and whenever I would be in a music room, I would gravitate toward a drum set. I grew up going to church, so there would be in the main room or the kids' room or whatever, all the stages, there would be instruments, guitars, and basses, and I always just went to the drums. But also, my parents, very musical, very into music people, very into music type of people. And my dad got me into all sorts of progressive metal bands, like Dream Theater, Symphony X, stuff like that. So I think definitely seeing Mike Portnoy play all that crazy shit on those big kits got me really stoked. I remember after I got my first drum set, we put it in my house. We hadn't set it up yet. And my dad puts on this live Dream Theater DVD, and he said, okay, here's your first drum lesson. Watch this guy play.
Masterclass.
Yeah, for sure.
And then from there, what was like the next steps from there? Like, was it jamming along to Dream Theater records? Was it, where did it kind of go from there?
Well, I started taking drum lessons from this guy pretty early on, and I remember liking drums a lot, but I don't think I was really into it for a couple of years. I remember lessons being kind of frustrating to me when I couldn't get things down super quickly. And a year or two after I started playing drums, I joined a school band at this middle school I was at, and they didn't have room for drummers, so I played French horn for a year. And a couple months after I joined the band, a new kid came into class, and they put them on drums, and I was like, what the fuck, you guys? But anyway, I did not like playing French horn. And then we moved house, and I moved schools, and I got into the band program there. They let me on drums, and that band director, his name is John Schutze. He's still my friend to this day. And he just had such a great approach to teaching and to running a band class. It was definitely not like the typical school band type thing that you think of. It was really, really cool. And then I started playing in after-school music programs that he would run and summer school programs that he would run. And I started taking lessons from the drum teacher that was there. His name's John. Sorry. That was my first teacher, John. His name's Mike Charleston. Really, really cool guy. And after that, after going to middle school for those 2 years at that place, I went to a performing arts high school here in California, and then left that school because I kind of wanted to have more time and play in a band of my own. Because that school, I went for first 2 years of high school, and we were in school from 8 a.m. until 1:30 doing academic classes, and then from I think 2 or 2:30 until 5 p.m., sometimes 8 p.m., doing conservatory classes. In my case, it was music, right? So yeah, I just wanted to be in a band of my own. I got really into I mean, I was into metal for a while, but I got into heavier metal when I was in high school. I really loved Opeth in middle school, and then when I went to that high school, this girl, her name's Allie. She saw that I was wearing a Lamb of God shirt, and she gave me a Faceless CD because she was friends with them. And then I got into them, and then I got into Decapitated, and then I got into Meshuggah, and then I got into all sorts of death metal and stuff. And I was like, okay, now I want to play in a metal band. So I did that for a while, graduated high school, went to college for 1 semester playing the jazz band there. And then maybe 6 months after that, or less than 6 months after that, I went to Miami and played in this band called Abiotic. And that's the start of my touring journey.
Okay. And then from there, when did you get the gig with Interloper? Because they're like your main gig, right?
No. I haven't been playing with Interloper. But okay, so first I played in that band Abiotic, right? I
Yeah.
actually played with a band called Animus before that. I played like 3 shows with them, in like basically like NorCal, MidCal, and then SoCal.
Yeah.
But after Abiotic, I started playing with Rings of Saturn. Interloper. So when I was a kid, like I said, I went to that school, OSHA, and then I left because I wanted to play in a band of my own, start like a local metal band. And that band was called Mirrored. I was 16. And we needed a guitar player, so I put out a Craigslist ad. And then I went on Craigslist to look for a guitar player, and Miles Dimitri Baker, my friend, he wasn't my friend at the time. I hadn't met him, but I saw his Craigslist ad, and we had him come over and audition for the band, and he started playing with us. Miles had a pretty different music taste than what we were making. So outside of that, Miles and I started playing heavier, techier stuff, more along the lines of like Obscura, Children of Bodom. And those songs that we started making at that age, it was probably around 17 when we started doing that, breaking off a little bit from the other band that we had.
Yeah.
Those songs ended up being what became Interloper. But that that band didn't even get launched until sometime in 2014, like late 2014, which was when right around when Miles joined Rings of Saturn. And so that kind of we were just so busy with Rings of Saturn that Interloper, we were still doing it and putting out music here and there, but we didn't really fully dive in again until we both parted ways with Rings of Saturn back in 2018. But then a couple of years ago, I had told the guys that I wasn't really interested in playing anymore. We're still all friends though, but yeah.
Yeah. When did you start like getting sort of more like the call for because I know you did you recently did a tour with Elise supporting like Madison Beer. When did you start getting called for like the more because that's more like a pop gig, is that right?
Yeah. Last year was kind of the first year that I started playing in that realm, because it was like lots of metal bands, death metal bands, deathcore bands for a while, progressive metal, whatever. And then in 2022, I played with this band called Drugs for a while, for a couple of tours and a festival. And that was getting closer to what I wanted to do, getting away from extreme metal. It was still a heavy band, post-hardcore band. It's still like in that scene, like alternative, more underground music culture, whatever. But closer to what I wanted to do. And then that kind of fell apart as far as, the members that were involved at the time. And then last year, Yeah. First I played with this band called Hot Milk, like
Mm.
pop punk alternative band. So right, getting closer to the style that I wanted to play. And then with Elise, her old manager is a guy that I know from the metal scene back when I was a teenager. And he hit me up to play gigs with her. So that's how it happened. And then
Sick.
me and her and our guitar player, who also came from the metal scene, we all just got along really well. And so we played a few shows together. Then we did a tour at the end of the year. And then, yeah, just a couple months ago, we did the tour with Madison Beer, which was awesome.
Hell yeah, man. Yeah, it looked insane. The venues looked killer, and the friggin' drum sound, man.
Yeah, I know, dude. Even just the drum sound from the camera on my phone,
Mm.
or I get, the microphone from me filming on my phone. Yeah,
Yeah.
sounds so good in those really, nice, well-treated big rooms. I had a lot of fun. It was really cool. Way different experience playing that music than,
Yeah.
rock, metal, heavy music.
Yeah, because right now you've been going between like Elise and is it Evermorphing?
Yeah, I did a tour with them in Europe before the Madison Beer Tour. And then right at the start of the Madison Beer Tour, I was actually for a couple days, I was going back and forth because, like, I played a show with Evermorphing supporting Ginger, and then we had a show supporting Madison Beer. And
All right.
then, like, we had a day off on the Madison Beer Tour, and Evermorphing had another show with Ginger. So I was kind of flying back and forth, which was really fun to go back and forth between metal and pop. It
Yeah.
was a cool thing to do. But yeah, Evermorphing, excuse me. My friend, I have a friend named Max. He lives down like 25, 30 minutes from me. And that's his band. I've known him
All
for a
right.
long time. And he asked me to play with them. And I was like, sure.
Sick. But with that was that because you said obviously you had to hop between like pop and metal. Did you have like prepping the Evermorphing material? Was that a challenge for you, or did you already know the material from? Had you played with them before? Or
No, that was my first time playing with them. Was it challenging? No. I've at this point played for a lot of different people. I've learned so much music. So yeah, and I mean, it's not the music isn't too tough, especially compared to things that I've had to do in the past. It was pretty straightforward and simple.
yeah, okay. And when you're on the road, because obviously you're very busy, and I know you tour a lot. It's do you find time to to still kind of put in some time for like practice and stuff like that, or is it literally just like the traveling and all that stuff? It's just too much to kind of hit the pad or
Mm, I mean, I used to bring out not a full, but I would have a practice pad on a snare stand, and then I would have a small little travel kick pad
yeah
that I could use with the double kick, and then I would have a hi hat stand and the and the really quiet cymbals, that has a million holes in them,
yeah
and just do like kick, snare, hat on the practice pad. Actually, I think the last tour I did in the States, I didn't bring that on the Madison Beer Tour. I think I brought that on a tour I did late last year.
hmm.
Um, when I'm traveling abroad, I'm not bringing that much stuff. But I mean, no, I don't practice that much on the road. I don't even really practice at home, honestly. I only really play drums when there's something that I have to practice for, like learn music to go on a tour, or if I'm gonna film a video, or if I'm doing a recording session. But I don't really play drums that much for
Hmm.
fun or to get better these
Yeah.
days. Yeah,
But was there I'm sure there must have been like a phase in your life where you put doing like the classic like putting in the 8 hours of
dude. Yeah,
rudiments.
I used to
Yeah.
put in so much time so many metronome exercises. I would go to the studio pretty much every day. You know, people would ask me to hang out, and I'd be like, "Oh, well, I gotta practice." And they say, "Why? You're already so good." I'm like, "Dude,
Yeah.
like that's why. It's because I practice." But yeah, I mean, you know, not playing for those really, you know, physically demanding types of bands anymore. I don't have to, but yeah, I mean, you know, I like doing crazy chop work and getting better, and you know, trying new ideas out. But I don't know. It's like I feel like I can pretty much do everything that I want to do, and I could play, you know, for any artist or band that hits me up to play. I don't really feel a huge need to play all the time. Plus, I got really into producing and songwriting and singing, so I'm
Sweet.
spending a lot more of my time doing that. You know, because I don't feel like I really need to be spending time behind the kit. Obviously, I could always get better. We could always get better, but yeah. And like also I love playing drums, but I definitely like playing drums on stage the most. I don't have too much fun practicing drums and playing
Hmm.
on my own. Sometimes I do. And it's not like it's ever a chore, but yeah, it's just not, I don't know. I've Cardiana like kind of already done it. I'm like where I
Hmm.
want to be. I don't it's kind of like I've just checked that off already.
Yeah. Yeah. I get what you mean. But I guess playing for different artists, I suppose you're still having to learn material in different contexts. Obviously you're still sort of having to practice in that way, if that makes sense, rather than just sitting down and ripping stick control or whatever. You're actually in a musical context having to practice parts and stuff.
And I mean, when I fill in for a band, play for a band, play for an artist, I'm practicing a lot. I'm practicing that set all the time, making sure that I nail it
Yeah.
perfect. And I get really meticulous. I like to, obviously stay true to the song, but put my own flair on it, right? I've heard that a million times. Oh, yeah, just make sure you play all the hits, but you can do your own thing, This is always, the cliche that everybody says. But yeah, just make sure that my feel is good on it, make everything glue the way it really should. I like to record myself playing through the set, listen to it, go back and forth, send it to the artist that I'm playing for, make sure they like it. I like to get really thorough.
Hmm.
hmm
Yeah. I mean, I suppose that's what a drummer needs is yeah, to be thorough, to be the one that's best organized and have the parts most confidently nailed.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you're definitely leading the band.
Yeah, absolutely. And so going back, because you said you played, your primary focus was jazz back in the day. So was that like your first true love, so to speak, on the drums, the jazz stuff?
Jazz came once I moved to the new school that I mentioned in middle school for seventh grade with that
Yeah.
band director John Schutze. That was really when I started getting more into jazz, but specifically with the after school music programs and the summer music programs. We had jazz groups, jazz bands, and then also rock ensembles, right? So I would do both. But yeah, I got really into playing jazz. It was super fun. And then when I went to that performing arts high school, it was called OSHA. It's got a
Hmm.
different iteration of that now. But yeah, that was primarily what I did there, and I had so much fun doing it. And when I went to college for that semester, I also played in the big band and in the small combo jazz bands. Um, I love it. I love playing jazz so much. Like you hear that so much in my playing style and in my fills and in my pocket. I'm really thankful to have that. I feel like it really lends a lot to my pocket, to
Hmm.
my like musical empathy too, being it learning that music is about listening to the other musicians and serving the song and just knowing how to complement everything. I love the fact that I played so much jazz. I'm very grateful for that.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, jazz is awesome for limb independence. I remember studying drums and starting to do like swing independence stuff. And that, especially like treading the left foot, for me was a big game changer. Like opened up, so many different doors, to places where I could tread hats um, and yeah, as you say, dynamics, musicality, so many things that jazz, so many valuable things that jazz adds to one's playing.
Yeah, that limb independence. For sure. I'm thankful for that. Definitely
Yeah.
having that hi-hat going all the time because I love to play quarters or eights, obviously depending on, what's going on in the song, along to just, a simple, beat, especially in a chorus, if I'm just like, dude, God, doom, doom, God, like playing on the ride or playing on the crash or something. I love to keep that with
Yeah.
my left foot.
Yeah, absolutely. So do you get to play much jazz these days, or is it mainly metal and pop?
Um, I mean, I don't play, the typical idea of jazz. I'm not playing in swing groups. That'd actually be really fun to do. You got me thinking that I should
Huh.
find some people to go play random clubs and busk with down here. That'd actually be really, really
Hmm.
fun. But no, I don't do that. But with Elise's set in particular, I get really jazzy with it. Her music, it's very, excuse me, very pop, very dark pop, alt pop, sort of centric. Wow, my phone thought that saying excuse me said Siri and it's going off. Fuck you, Siri. No, I'm just kidding. I love you. Not really. You ever say like I love you to Siri and they say I'm sorry, I don't feel that way, or I just see you as a friend, or
Yeah.
anyway.
Thanks a lot, Siri.
Bro, rejection, man. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I just can't talk to her anymore. I got to get an
it's
Android.
it's deep rooted, man.
What were we saying just now? What did you ask me? Oh, oh
About
yeah,
a
yeah. So
jazz gig.
Elise's music is very, yeah, dark alt pop centric, but her pocket oftentimes is very swing feel, you know. You know what I mean? Lots of that kind of
Mm,
stuff. And so I'm imposing that pocket on it a lot. Imposing, I don't know. I feel like that has a negative connotation. But you get what I mean.
yeah.
I'm doing that a lot. I'm doing a lot of swing pocket, a lot of shuffle grooves. Um so definitely I get to let that shine. Yeah, I mean like there's a part in particular at the end of one of the songs where I'm literally doing, the typical shit
Mm,
thing, keeping the hats on 2 and 4 and all that. Doing a shuffle groove like right?
mm.
Um Man, you know that meme? I can't remember who the other guy is, but it's Thomas Lang and another drummer, and it's just a bunch of cuts of them just making the drum noises with their
Yeah,
mouths. Like
Him and JP. Yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah, right, yeah,
yeah.
right. I remember I have a friend, um, and she sent me that, and she said, "Yeah, okay." I've always wondered why drummers do this and why they don't just play it on the kit. And then I kind of got a little deep nerd and gave her a very thorough explanation as to really what's going on there.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's like, yeah, if you can't sing it, you can't play it, right? I think Thomas really preaches that big time. And
Oh yeah,
yeah, and that I
yeah,
mean yeah, that clip was hilarious. Yeah, I remember when that went viral.
yeah. Or if you can't slow it down, too, super crucial to be able to slow things down. I'll play a lick, you know, I'll just be on the kit and I'll play it and it's, fast-ish and maybe it's not that tight, and then I'll slow it down and then I don't even know exactly what I'm doing and I have to really think, but then I slow it
Mm.
down, I get it, and then I practice slowly, speed it up, and then it's, and then it's really solid.
Yeah, and I mean, usually, I feel like, yeah, usually when you're practicing melodies, like I've actually been working on JP Bouvet's website, and he has courses on there for like, I love the approach that he has because it's very much like flow, a flow approach, you know, to how to kind of take ideas and make them flow creatively around the kit rather than just taking the concept and like, you know, hammering it home on a practice pad and, you know, that's it, you know. But yeah, with the paradiddle thing that I'm working on, he's got like these very cool melodies that you can put together with different combinations of paradiddles and singles. And so like singing those before even playing is already more, you know, kind of, what's the word? More advantageous to yeah, hammer home the idea, if that makes sense.
It makes perfect sense. I teach often.
Yeah.
I've been teaching for 10 years now. I teach people on my own, either at my studio or online. Typically, it's mid or late teenagers to people of all ages above, but you know, a lot of people in their 20s, 30s, teenagers. But I started recently working at this place called School of Rock, so I'm teaching a lot of
Right.
kids, right? And yeah, I'm doing a lot more out loud stuff. I'm having them count out loud, and it's you know, one thing that I notice a lot when I'm teaching, there's all these techniques and practices to do. For example, like you're saying, speak things out loud, that I'm teaching these people because they're tools in order to get better and learn things and whatnot. These days, I'm not really doing that stuff so much. For example, like I'm never writing out music like I used to.
Hmm.
You know, to try to learn parts. I'm not really ever having to speak things out loud. I'm not really having to go through all these steps to get to the end goal. You know, it's a much faster, more streamlined process just because I've been playing so long. But yeah, anyway, it's just it's cool to teach people and be reminded of the things that I had to do, the steps that I had to take to get where I am now.
Yeah. And so how long have you been teaching at School of Rock?
Since I want to say February, I think. Yeah, I started teaching there, but I was only teaching for like 3 weeks or 4 weeks, maybe, and then I went on tour. But they're super cool with letting people go and come back, which is really nice.
Yeah.
So yeah, I got back and started working again in late May, I think, early June,
Okay.
and I've been working there, and I'm about to go on tour again. But like I said, they're very cool, very lenient with that.
Yeah. So what's the tour that you've got coming up?
I can't say yet because it's just some internal things with the
Yeah.
band. I don't think it's public knowledge that their drummer isn't playing with them anymore.
Okay.
So just be on the lookout.
Okay. Nice. I'm looking forward to seeing that. I'm intrigued. Um, but yeah. So when do you go out on tour next?
I play a couple of festivals in late August, and then a tour starts mid-September.
September. Okay. And so in that time, are you just spending the time teaching or?
Oh, from now until then, teaching on my own and at School of Rock, but I also have been producing music and songwriting for a few
Nice.
people.
Yeah.
So that's been really cool. I got into that field about a year and a half ago, just as far as
Mhm.
getting into producing, getting into songwriting, you know, really trying to hone in that craft, right? And I just started getting a couple of clients, as it were, a
Nice.
couple of months ago. Yeah, I'm really into it. I love making music, and you know, I mean, you have to be really multifaceted in the music industry, unless you
Yeah.
just, you know, make it, right? And you just hit this peak where you're in a band and that's just what you coast off of, which is cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, for someone like me, I have to fill my time with all these different roles, and I love touring, but I'm very dependent on someone else's schedule,
Hmm.
and someone else is always calling the shots. And also, who knows how long I can make that last. And it's always about making active income. It's not passive income like
Yeah.
what you would get from, royalties, publishing, all that stuff. So, yeah, I just thought it would be a good idea to, get another job within the industry.
Hmm.
But also, I love it. I love making music. And I
Awesome.
like,
Well,
huh?
no, sorry. I'll let you finish your sentence, but I was just going to
Um,
ask about the songwriting. But yeah.
right. Yeah. I mean, it started, what I was going to say is that I love writing music for myself. It started from a desire to make my own music. Um, and I still continue to do that. I'm just kind of, taking my time, being um, very, very picky and critical of the music that I make. Who
Yeah.
knows, when anything will come out, but I definitely want to do it. What were you going to ask though about songwriting?
Uh, no, I think I was just going to ask what kind of music, what genres of music you were writing.
I just started an Instagram page and a TikTok page
Oh, nice.
called Saber Lane. That's the artist name that I'm having for myself.
Saber
So far,
Lane.
I've only put out covers, but the biography on those pages, it says I make music, I just don't know what kind yet. And
Huh.
that's basically your answer.
Yeah. Saber Lane. I gotcha. Nice. Cool. Yeah, I've just followed that. Sweet. But yeah. So what is that? Do you write on like guitar, keys?
I wish that I played better guitar. Um I don't. What I make when I'm producing a song is electronic instruments, um, keys, and different synths and stuff like that. Or I mean, I'll I'll use samples. Like I'll go on Splice and I'll get guitar chords or a pattern or a single chord, and then transpose the chords based on the chord progression that I want. Or I'll get like a guitar one shot and manipulate that. But yeah, I would love to get into playing guitar more just so that I can write better progressions and riffs, not like a metal riff, but just like arpeggiating a chord and, cool, I don't know, slide into a note and just all the stuff that I want to be able to do, you know what I mean, on guitar.
Yeah.
But yeah, right now it's just all programmed, electronic type stuff. But I will also work with others, like I'll write a song with the producer. I definitely like my songwriting and my singing is much more advanced and developed than my producing skills.
Hmm.
Yeah. But um I definitely, have a handle on that. I can also, like start an idea and like to bring it to somebody that I know, a producer friend of mine, and have them kind of, they're like, okay, I get this chord progression that you're doing. I get the pocket. I get the feel. I'm following your melody. Let's just, make it sound a little bit better.
Yeah. And so what's the kind of stuff that inspires you these days in your songwriting?
I think for my style, if I can narrow it down to one artist, it would be The Neighborhood. They're
Okay.
very, very dreary, but also can be like fun and upbeat, even while being dreary.
Yeah.
They have, that big blend of synthetic, electronic instruments with real instruments, analog, guitar, drums, all that shit. Um, Also, his vocal production is so varied. He'll have, you know, very clean sounding vocal production on a song. He'll have like slammed auto tune on a song. He'll have a lot of distortion on a song. But yeah, that blend of styles is really what I'm going for.
Mm.
Yeah, dreary, you know, electronic, acoustic hybrid. Um, my voice, I mean, I like it. I think I'm a decent singer, but I'm definitely not a great singer. I'm not like I can't really. I'm not trying to make music where like the instrumentation is super simple, and is just gonna let like this beautiful voice shine. I
Mm.
think I fit better in a pocket where I can be a little bit more washed out. Think maybe like um Deftone style singing
Nice. Yeah.
too. Yeah. Um where it's just a little like odd. I would say more characteristic rather than being just like, this phenomenal pop singer that can do crazy runs and is kind of like a virtuoso and is acrobatic a little bit.
Yeah. And do you think with your solo stuff, do you think you'll want to like put together a project, um, like an actual band and go out and play some of those songs, or do you reckon it's more like for your own sort of fulfillment behind the scenes and doing stuff for other people rather than taking your songs out?
No, I would love to take them out.
Yeah.
I mean, ideal situation in life is to, at least for me, just in terms of career, whatever, ideal situation would be to be an artist and have a career as an artist and that take the forefront. But I wouldn't say that's like, it's weird because like that's a goal, but I'm not, mm, I'm very content with other goals that I have as well. Like if that's the ideal, that's the number one slot. Number two is maybe being a drummer, for an artist or for a band, and having a ton of stability. Maybe like playing with a huge artist to the point where I know my schedule months or a year more in advance,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm like on retainer, and that's like a very secure, steady job because kind of like I was saying earlier, I'm grinding and hustling all the time to make sure that I'm busy.
Mm-hmm.
It would be nice to like still work but like be coasting with my work. Anyway,
Yeah.
so that's like the number 2 slot, and I think that's also tied with like producing and songwriting for others. That would also I would love for that to be my long-term career. Yeah, so all three of those things I would be super happy with, but I mean, yeah, having a career as an artist is definitely at the top, but it's hard to do that, and I'm still figuring out what kind of music I want to make. So who knows what'll happen, but I'm pushing toward
Yeah.
it slowly.
Yeah. Dude, I mean, it's honestly awesome that you're, obviously besides the touring and stuff, that you're so like driven to keep busy and, as you said, as a musician, actually making a living off just touring these days, unless you're, in one of the biggest bands or whatever, it's probably almost impossible to actually make a living off just like, you know, being the that member of that one band. Yeah, it's definitely definitely awesome that you're yeah keeping yourself so busy um, and I think everybody needs to have their fingers in different pies these days with the yeah where the industry's at.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Thank you.
Yeah, no, absolutely, absolutely. But yeah, Aaron. So, but yeah, tell me a little bit more about what like you've got going on and what in yeah maybe in your time off and what kind of project.
Yeah, starting to, like I said, write and produce music for other people, doing lessons, um, sessions here and there. Like just the other day, my friend has a company that makes music for video games, and
Mm,
I've done a couple of things with him in the past, and he hit me up the other day to do a session for them, so I just tracked a song, sent it over to them. I've been playing for this artist named Zelda, Freckled Zelda. She was in no, not was is in the like cosplay anime type culture community.
mm,
But she's been singing for a long time, and she's recently been been making a lot of songs. So I've been doing some rehearsals with them, kind of, building the project and getting it ready. We played a gig the other day. So that's cool. That's been really fun. I love the musicians all a part of that project. My friend Evan, who plays guitar with me for Elise, he plays guitar in that project. That's how that came about for me. But other than that, I mean, it's funny. People ask me what my hobbies are, and like I really don't have any, because like outside of the music that I do for work, I'm also doing music. You know what I mean? Like it, okay, maybe I'm getting paid to play drums here, paid to, teach drums there, but or like I'm getting paid to write a song for somebody. But if I'm not, doing that, then I'm writing a song for myself, or I'm
Yeah.
going and making a video, for online. Speaking of which, man, that's something I really just struggle with, is the whole content creator game.
Oh
I
yeah.
used to do it a lot. Like I loved making videos for songs that I was playing, in bands and writing and stuff. But now I'm just like, the idea that I have to, go post something every day. And like every time I go to make a post, um, you know, I'll post it, and then the following days I have this itch in my head of like, okay, now you got to do another one. You just got to do this every day. You can't stop. You're going to lose momentum. You know what I mean? And it's such a weird thing.
Yeah. Do you ever though, like, find yourself kind of trying to record something for the purpose of actually posting it, and then because I don't know, you keep overanalyzing, or you keep doing another take, like you kind of give up because you just think like, screw this shit. This is too annoying, because you're basically just making it for content rather than.
Oh, no, not yet. Not yet. And like I said, well, sorry, are you talking specifically just for like when I'm singing, or in general?
Oh no, I meant, and to be fair, just in general, really. Yeah,
Oh,
whether it's drumming or singing or
I
whatever,
see.
whether
So I mean,
you overthink it to the point of then,
mm,
not
yeah.
posting it,
Oh, I
or.
mean, there are plenty of things that I've made that I never post.
Mhm.
There are tons of songs that I've made that I'm never gonna release.
Yeah.
That I don't really feel like I need to go back in and work on. Um, with drums, I would say for sure that can happen. Well, I don't really ever, like, I'm never recording something or filming something or making content when it comes to being on drums where I'm getting too frustrated because I can't get it down. Like, I don't
Right.
really know how else to say it other than like, there's nothing I can't really do that I'm like,
Yeah.
that I want to do when it comes to playing drums. With singing, there's for sure times where I get frustrated. Lately, it hasn't been happening though. Like my progression as a singer was, kind of going like this, like just steadily getting up. It wasn't plateauing because I've always had so much to learn, but there were just
Yeah.
so many things to get better at that it was kind of like this, this like small, steady incline. But then a couple of months ago, I just like had a few things click, and now it's just like I'm just getting better a lot faster.
Right.
Um, and it's been really fun. And yeah, so like I said earlier, when I'm making a video, uh, even if I don't like the way it turns out, it was a really good practice session. And that's another thing too, when it comes to like producing and writing music. Um, okay, so little sidebar, but it's all related. Not even sidebar, but just another thing to compare it to. Or whatever the fuck I'm trying to say. I get too caught up in nuance. On drums, right? If I need to, say I'm going to go practice to a metronome and I'm going to run through a bunch of songs and I'm going to do this, say I practice drums for 2 hours. Okay, that was a 2-hour practice session. I got better at drums in those 2 hours. When I go to sit down and produce and write a song, say I do that for 2 hours. That was a practice session. I was getting better at songwriting. I was getting better at producing. But since I also made something and I'm so connected to it and emotionally invested in it, for a long time, it was so hard for me to like let that go. Like I had it and I was like, okay, I want to make this better. I want to take this to a friend. I want to, have somebody help me songwrite it. I want to put money into making this song better. I want this to be a song that I use, that,
Yeah.
I put out. And it took a long time to become okay with just having throwaway songs, just having things that I've made that only serve the purpose of me practicing.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's like the 10,000 hour rule. It's putting
Yeah.
in, yeah, putting in, you have to put in that time and get as much of the shit out of the way as you can in order to get to like the, you know, the good stuff and yeah, the masterpieces, as it were.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, man. Yeah, so Aaron, we're coming to the end of this episode now. Is there anything that you want to plug or kind of shout out? Anything you got coming up?
Yeah, I mean, just check out Sabre Lane. It's just Sabre and then Lane Lane. Um, because yeah, I'm having a lot of fun doing it, and I would love for people to be interested in it, and for people to hear the music that I make once it starts coming out.
Sick. Hell yeah, man. Well, Aaron, thank you for taking the time, man.
Yeah, man, thanks for having me.
Give me money.